So I recently discovered that somebody made a TV tropes page about the Kingdom Hearts rewrite I've been working on. Someone by the name of The Merger Magikoopa is like the main creator of this webpage. And I wasn't too familiar with the website TV Tropes before this, but apparently it's just a way of kind of analyzing writing techniques in media, a lot of literary techniques, a lot of things you see in TV, and that's kind of the whole shtick of the website. But it also kind of acts as like a Wikipedia page because it's just a lot of details regarding the story I've been working on. From what I've seen so far, the Merger Magikoopa has actually done a really good job picking up on a lot of the little things I've been developing in this series. It's just a really impressive endeavor, and I've only read some of it. We're gonna get into the whole of it, and I think it's a really good opportunity to start talking about some of my inspirations and some of the things I'm developing and my thought process when rewriting things, because I haven't really gotten time to just reflect on what I've written so far. We show up on the page and it immediately has kind of like a wiki style format. It's got an introduction and then it just kind of dives right into all the details. How to Fix Kingdom Hearts is a YouTube series made by YouTuber Kryptonic02, known on DeviantArt as The Crowned Roxas. Perfect opportunity to plug my DeviantArt. I don't post a whole lot on DeviantArt, but I post some of the data greetings in their full quality, and I've also done some extra data greetings for funsies. So yeah, right here it says this series contains examples of, and then it starts with adaptational alternate ending. This is just kind of describing the literary techniques I use, but it also just provides good insight and kind of just an encyclopedia on the rewrite. So let's get into it. Adaptational alternate ending, a downplayed case with the Kingdom Hearts 2 arc. While Sora and Kairi still reunited, the ending was turned from a happy ending into a downer ending. Yeah. Roxas and Xion are trapped in Sora's heart, or at least that's how Sora, Riku, and Kairi see it. Gnosis had to be separated from Kairi right after reuniting with her, and the heroes were left questioning their beliefs regarding light and darkness. On the plus side, Naminé was spared by adaptation. And we know Sora will save Roxas, Xion, and Gnosis, but still. I don't know, it's a lot of these like TV trope terms I don't really understand because I'm not a professional writer. I just kind of write things that feel correct. I come from like an editing background and just doing basic media stuff all throughout my childhood and always doing YouTube and things like that. And then also I watch a lot of like critiques and analyzing movies and writing and things like that. I just stumble upon those types of videos. So I'm not super familiar with all this. But we're just gonna read it anyways. It's changed from a happy ending to a downer ending because of Roxas and Xion's fate. On the plus side, Naminé was spared by adaptation. Terra had to see Ephemer being killed by the Heartless. Yeah, he did. So Ephemer's role in the story was purposeful. I didn't just add it to just add padding and add Union Cross characters for the fun of it. It actually served a purpose to plant a seed of doubt in Terra with his chain of command. Because the way I saw it, if Terra didn't already kind of have the means to doubt his chain of command, then Xehanort and later Vanitas telling him all these things that contradict his worldview would not have stuck with him as much. The Heartless creatures of pure darkness instead of enemies within, and the nobodies are creatures of pure light rather than empty shells. Organization 13 isn't made out of nobodies, but rather out of people whose hearts were fractured by Terra Xehanort. A couple of notes. I think I originally did say that their hearts were originally fractured by Xehanort, who would be Terra Xehanort at the time, but in the upcoming Dream Drop Distance episode, I actually kind of retconned it to be that Xemnas was the one who fractured the organization. And also, I don't think Xemnas classified himself as a nobody simply because he was of pure light. And one thing I want to mention is that Heartless and nobodies aren't creatures of pure darkness or light either. They are simply creatures who kind of embody a lot of light and who are very light visual, but they're still hearts. They're still technically made out of both light and darkness. It's not entirely correct that he classifies as a nobody because he's made of light. He technically started calling the organization nobodies, kind of just to demean them and make them seem lesser than, just constantly hammering in that they're not important, you have to do what I say. It's a very basic technique of control. Since time travel was made impossible, Ventus, Ephemer, Laurium, and Elrena, and perhaps Strelitzia, hail from the present rather than from the past. As such, Ephemer is not the founder of Scala ad Kalimir. I have not mentioned anything about Strelitzia as of now, but you know, the Keyblade, the key to unlock Kingdom Hearts, is renamed the Key of Hearts and redesigned to resemble the combined Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance. Fun little tidbit, that was the very first thing I ever rewrote about Kingdom Hearts. And then from there, I just got the gears turning on all these changes that could be made to the lore of Kingdom Hearts, and that's initially was what sparked the rewrite itself. Since Xehanort was made unable to time travel, young Xehanort was turned into a dream manifestation of Ansem and Terranort. He is a dream element of himself when he was younger. So that is what Xehanort looked like when he was younger. The silver hair and kind of looking like Terra, gonna be honest. Naminé is unable to fight at all in the games. Here, she becomes a skilled black magician girl during Days Between. I don't know about the part Naminé is unable to fight. She can conjure spells. She's a mage. She can do all those things. Adaptational heroism. Marluxia and Larxene tried to overthrow Xemnas not out of their selfishness, but rather by the fact when their hearts were fractured, they kept enough memories to know how evil Xemnas was. In Kingdom Hearts 3, they're revealed to have been good all along. Yes, there are some details to this that I will be slightly retconning in the future, such as them being introduced in Kingdom Hearts 3 as their normal selves, as Lauriam and Elrena. When their hearts were fractured, they kept enough memories to know how evil Xemnas was. Yeah, I think I'm also going to be changing this when I introduce them a little bit. Yes, they were fractured, but they weren't just captured by Xemnas by accident. They were purposefully fractured. The Heartless. In the games, they're always chaotic evil. Here, they only fight because they have to fight back against the tyranny of light, and they're mostly innocent creatures in a desperate need for a hug. The Heartless are, especially the Shadows, man, they're so cute. They need hugs, man. Like, they're just not doing well. Master Ericus, while still favoring light over darkness, and although he still tried to kill Ventus, isn't as much of a Knight Templar that is in the games. I think he ended up coming off pretty much the same as he does in the games. I interpreted Ericus as a very, sort of heartwarming kind of, a loving of his prodigies, very proud of the people he's trained. He believes in Terra, Ventus, and Aqua. He believes in what's best for them. It's just that when you're someone who's been indoctrinated to hate something your entire life, I don't think it's realistic for someone to just, change their minds easily. Xehanort had to physically experience the hardships of being trapped in the realm of darkness, having to use the darkness, having to meet the Heartless, having to meet Vanitas. He just has that firsthand experience when Ericus doesn't have that at the end of the day, and he saw the Heartless attack people he cared about his entire life. Adaptational villainy. The organization is more dangerous, often committing acts of terrorism towards the Disney worlds. I love that word. I did not use the word terrorism in my video, but that is very, very true. However, Marluxia, Larxene, Roxas, and Xion are subversions. The former two were good all along, and the latter two are more like punch clock villains. Yeah, like terms like that. What does that mean? I have no idea. That sounds like a really useful term. I'm actually going to open it. Wow, that picture. I got a lot of catching up to do if I want to, kickstart my writing game. Lee and Isa are introduced as crooks, and by the time Ventus meets them, they were already working with Xehanort. Downplayed in Lee's case as he has second thoughts. It might also be invoked in order to make his heel face turn in Kingdom Hearts 2 all the more impactful. Yes, with every character's arc, Blessed the Virgin Mary, I want all of their arcs to sort of intertwine, and I want there to just be more emphasis on the actions that they take. I don't want characters to just kind of do things because their heart commanded them to. I want to visually show, the changes in characters. And even though Axel is a fractured heart of Lee, he's still Lee, and he still has the sort of spirit of Lee, and the spirit of Lee is that Lee did not like Xehanort by the end of Birth by Sleep. By extension, Axel can sort of sense that Xemnas is kind of one and the same. Ansem the Wise is renamed to Gnosis, and as a consequence, Terra Xehanort is often referred to as Ansem. When Terra Xehanort was with Gnosis's team, he is known as Ansem. They think his name is Ansem. They don't know that he's Xehanort. I just want to clarify. I think I explained that, but I just make sure that's out there. Kairi is more goofy and more tomboyish than in the games. I don't know about tomboyish. I'm not a huge fan of describing people as tomboyish to begin with. Any ship tease between Roxas and Naminé was removed. I didn't talk much about the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2 because I really like the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2, but I think the interactions between Roxas and Naminé is perfectly fine. But yeah, they can still talk and be nice to each other. Like, I think a lot of things get interpreted as a ship tease when it's just two people talking to each other at the end of the day. If you replaced Naminé as a boy, it would be totally platonic. I don't think it was much of a ship tease. The world order was removed, and the reason the guest star party members can't leave their worlds is because there's not enough room in the gummy ship. Yeah, honestly, if I could go back into Kingdom Hearts 1, I would probably just write better reasons for that. The Keyblade of Hearts was replaced with the Kingdom Key D. I don't like the naming scheme Kingdom Key and Kingdom Key D. I don't think it really works that well anymore. A lot of people have pointed out that it would make sense for one Keyblade to be of light and one Keyblade to be of darkness. I think that would make a lot more sense in hindsight. I think the Kingdom Key D would look better if it was black and red. You know? I say that because the aesthetics of Vanitas, who's, black and red, wielding a gold Keyblade, I think it looks aesthetically a little strange. Not what I would imagine Nomura to do when he would be actually like creating character designs. And also, Mickey Mouse. His colors are also red and black. I screwed the pooch on that one. The only worlds that can be visited in Castle Oblivion are Destiny Islands and Twilight Town, and even then, Riku doesn't visit the latter. God, in general, there is so much that I wish I could go back and describe in detail about what I would want the events of Castle Oblivion to look like, sort of chopped up in the way that I did it. The organization's goal wasn't to provide empty shells Xehanort could use for the Grand Theft Me. Okay, this is... I suddenly have no idea what this means. When one character forcibly hijacks another character's body. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he does do that, doesn't he? But rather to gather the Kingdom Key while Ansem was looking for the Kingdom Key D. I think a plot point I didn't harp on as much is he also does it because he's a being of pure light and he fucking hates the darkness. So the organization also went out fighting the Heartless and spreading the nobodies. I think there's a little bit more detail I can go into in later installments about Xemnas as a character and what he was really up to. Since the Way to the Dawn Keyblade symbolizes Riku conquering his inner darkness, Riku no longer wears a blindfold throughout days. The blindfold was just weird and like edgy and just kind of one of like those Nomura-isms. Kind of like the bandages around Cloud's fucking Buster Sword. Like, it's just like, it looks kind of cool aesthetically, but Riku doesn't have the fucking Sharingan. Like, how the fuck does he see? Maleficent does not appear in Kingdom Hearts 2. It's implied she was killed off for real. I never stated it, but yes, I don't really want Maleficent to return. I don't really have anything for her to do. Atlantica was removed from Kingdom Hearts 2. Atlantica sucks. Giving no fucks. Kingdom Hearts Coded was removed entirely due to it being a Shaggy Dog story. It was removed entirely. There's some elements of Coded that will be making a return. That's all I'm saying. Kryptonix stated right off the bat that events from the second saga will be removed because he can't implement them without the benefit of hindsight. This includes the world of fiction and the black box. It's implied this is also the case with Subject X. I don't think I'm at the point where I'm going to remove everything that was maybe introduced from the second saga, but it is true that it's hard to implement story elements without the benefit of hindsight. Like, if I don't know that the Master of Masters is, the grand puppeteer of Xehanort and all the events that have happened, then it just kind of feels like tacked on at the end. A story like Attack on Titan does things like that very well because it foreshadows a lot of really big things that you only learn about towards the end of the entire series. And it just feels like it's very narratively coherent, like there was a foresight, like they knew where they were going, and that helps you develop things along the way to just feel more coherent, which is, again, something that Kingdom Hearts kind of lacks. No time travel means Maleficent was killed off for real. This fridge horror was given further fuel by the fact that Maleficent was adapted out of Kingdom Hearts 2. In fun Kingdom Hearts Disney fashion, I could just bring her back for the sake of bringing her back. Like, she looked like she was defeated, but oh, it was a fake out death. I've already done that before. It doesn't necessarily mean she was killed, but yeah, I'm confirming it here. She's not coming back. I have nothing for her to do. Balance between good and evil. Xehanort was trying to achieve balance between light and darkness. However, he became drunk on the dark side. It's implied that Yensid also tries to achieve this balance as he wants to bring all worlds back as once. Yensid, at the time of Birth by Sleep in Kingdom Hearts 2, does not necessarily worry about the balance of light and darkness. He just knows that the worlds are split apart, that they were likely once a part of each other, and he just wants to uncover why that is. Big good. Wow, I'm only halfway through this thing. Aqua's fate is somewhat better since the realm of darkness and its denizens were changed, so Aqua being trapped there won't necessarily be a fate worse than death. 0.2 is gonna be a fun one. There's so much I need to just completely write from scratch for 0.2. It's gonna be its own like unique experience. Obviously some elements of the dark ending from Birth by Sleep Final Mix and 0.2 will still be there. Aesthetics and world settings and maybe a tiny bit of the progression, but it is going to be a completely new story. There's gonna be new characters. It's gonna set up a lot of the things we'll see in Kingdom Hearts 3 for sure. Ephemer is only seen in a flashback in Aqua's story, and then he's killed by a large swarm of Heartless. He just fucking dies. Like, I think how dark it is that I introduced this character just to serve the character of Terra. Like, he's such like a cool, important character in the Union Cross series. It's kind of sad, but not really. Fatal flaw: the Keyblade Masters of the Land of Departure share one: their fantastic racism towards darkness. Yeah, it is very much inspired by racism and colonialism and imperialism. Jerkass has a point. Despite the black and white insanity of the Keyblade Masters of the Land of Departure, with their unrelenting belief that light is always lawful good and dark is always chaotic evil, they do have a good argument in their favor. The Heartless destroying the worlds is merely proving them right. Oppressors obviously see themselves in the right, and then they create a world where people obviously aren't happy with what they're doing, but as long as they maintain a huge lie and shield everyone from the horrors, and then they can isolate these obvious examples of people not being okay with the things that are happening to them, they can isolate that and be like, whoa, look at this terrible stuff. We should hate that. They're attacking us. Like, it's just very much inspired by that type of phenomena. What it wants to do is take back. Ooh, my roommate's here. So I'm in the middle of filming that. You want to show your dick to the camera real quick? Don't do it. Don't actually do it. Don't actually do it. No! Not his penis! I was like, no, please don't show your dick to the camera. Please. Official couple per canon: Sora and Kairi, and also Riku, Namine, and Roxas and Xion. Yeah. However, it's only explicit for Roxas and Xion. Sora and Kairi and Riku, Namine are kept mostly to ship tease. Yeah, eventually there will be a resolution between the teased romance between these characters, but for the most part, the romantic relationship between Roxas and Xion happens to serve the story of 358 Days Over 2, to make it a better, more interesting story. Kingdom Hearts 1, Donald, Goofy, Kairi, and Riku are playable in the New Game Plus mode. I just thought it was cool. From a development standpoint, it's probably kind of difficult to just like create a playable character that flows well from scratch. It doesn't have to be perfectly well balanced, or it doesn't have to be even like super good. I think of a game like Ratchet and Clank, for instance, like up your arsenal, where you just like different player skins and like a different wrench and stuff like that. It was a little derpy. Some of like the New Game Plus features, like you could go out of bounds with one of them. It was just like fucking break the map in the game like completely. But it's just fun. Because at the end of the day, once you've played through the game and you've experienced the game as intended, it's just like, you just have this whole game. That's why like mods for all the stuff on PC and all the stuff for emulators over the years have just been so fun, because it's just like, you just get to dick around. The inhabitants of the Realm of Darkness see Xehanort as a messianic archetype, ultimately subverted as Vanitas saw Xehanort as what he truly is, a cruel, selfish man. However, Vanitas himself plays it straight with his kind. In his eyes, the inhabitants of the Realm of Light are all cruel tyrants, and that it's his job to take back what the light took from the darkness. Yeah, a lot of that we get to explore a little bit more in 0.2. Spoiler alert, Vanitas will be making a return in that game. Again, I don't necessarily know if Vanitas thinks it's his responsibility. I think he wants to just lead a dark revolution, I guess. Now, this was an interesting part of the article. It says, the Just a Pancake ripoff has examples of a bunch of all these things. There's a Just a Pancake ripoff? Maybe there is. I can't find it. I looked it up earlier and I couldn't find it. I don't know. If someone knows what it is, feel free to send it my way, because I would love to see it. I love those videos. So that was this page. And there's actually another page on TV Tropes talking about my video as well. It is this one. It doesn't really have like an introduction. It just kind of drops right into this. This also comes from the Merger Magikoopa. Okay, so he made this page as well. In the Dream Drop Distance arc, Sora, Kairi, and Riku will all become Keyblade Masters, because 1, they all deserve it, and 2, Terra, Aqua, and Ventus are all Keyblade Masters in this adaptation. We'll see. In Kingdom Hearts 3 arc, Strelitzia will appear, or at very least Lauriam will mention her, because let's face it, a lot of Lauriam's fans want Strelitzia to be spared by adaptation, and if Lauriam hails in the present here, remember time travel is adapted out, then it makes sense for Strelitzia to hail from the present as well. It does make sense for that to happen. If that happened, it would make sense. Hermode, Bragi, Urd, and Vor will be the big bad of the Kingdom Hearts 3 arc. Cryptonics stated that they would have a greater work in arcs of games released after Birth by Sleep. It's also stated that the Destiny Islands trio will fight against the Tyranny of Light in that arc. So it only makes sense to have Hermode, Bragi, Urd, and Vor represent this Tyranny of Light. It's an interesting idea. Expanding on the above, the arc would follow an evil versus evil plot, with the Tyrants of Light fighting Xehanort, while the Destiny Islands trio would try to stop them both. It does fit the balance between light and darkness, Aesop of the series. It does fit that. It really do be fitting that. You are not wrong. That would make a lot of sense if that's what happens. I'm not saying it does, I'm not saying it doesn't. Vanitas would be a party member in the Kingdom Hearts 3 arc. After all, Xehanort pulled an eviler than thou on him, so he most likely wants to kill him to get even. I think it's kind of safe to say that Vanitas will be fighting alongside Sora at some point. Lauriam and Elrena hail from the Land of Departure and are friends with the Wayfinder trio, much like Ephemer. Since Marluxia and Larxene tried to overthrow Xemnas because they remembered Xemnas' evil, it would make sense for them to have a connection to the Wayfinder trio. They were friends with Ventus and Canon, as seen in Union Cross, so maybe they're friends with him here as well. This is an interesting theory as well, if it happens. We don't know. We really don't. I know. Don't look at me, I'm not included. I know exactly what's gonna fucking happen. We'll see. They are interesting characters to say the least. And they will be badass as fuck. The town that acts as an adaptation expansion for the Land of Departure is Daybreak Town. After all, Cryptonics uses images of Daybreak Town when talking about the Land of Departure's town. Coincidence? I think not. Furthermore, Scala ad Caelum is part of Kingdom Hearts here, and as such is only accessible via the Key of Hearts. Yes, that is true. Daybreak Town and Scala ad Caelum are going to be two separate things. It might just, yeah, headcanon. The town in Land of Departure is Daybreak Town. Sure. Sora will not be banished to unreality by the adaptation. Let's face it, we all want this. I don't know. I'll see where we're at by the time I'm writing Kingdom Hearts 3. We'll see what works. So yeah, that was everything. This was really, really well done. I'm impressed by the amount of details that they got right. Obviously, they made some inferences that weren't necessarily correct. I corrected a few things, but it was a very long article with a lot of information, and most of the details were pretty spot on. This page right here with some of the predictions, I like this, and I like that there's been so much feedback on the videos themselves. It's been really incredible, and it's inspired plenty of plot points. You know, a lot of the things that people talked about in the Kingdom Hearts 1 video and the Kingdom Hearts 2 video ended up influencing Birth by Sleep. Definitely keep them coming. If you have any ideas for what could go down in 0.2 and Kingdom Hearts 3, definitely let me know, because I'm still looking for inspiration out here. Part 4 of How to Fix Kingdom Hearts is still underway. I could actually show you guys like the project files right now. Yeah, so these are the project files right now. It's a little over halfway edited. Other than that, that's gonna do it for this video. But this was fun. I love engaging with the fans. I love all the stuff that happens over on my DeviantArt page. Also in the YouTube comment section, it's been great seeing all the fun ideas. And also, I'm gonna shamelessly plug my Twitter, which I don't know if I'm gonna fucking use that much. I just kind of created it, but it's Cryptonics02 on Twitter. I might do, you know, the occasional announcement and just personal post here and there, but you know, just follow for funsies, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, I will see you guys whenever I get done editing How to Fix Kingdom Hearts Part 4.